Hello everyone, in this video we are going to discuss about the role of investment in Indonesia economy. But first of all, we have to know about what is investment first. And investment is an activity to invest or fund in a company or project with the hope of making a profit. Not only that, investment is also the activity of placing other valuable assets in certain instruments within a certain period of time. Investment form. Investments are also grouped into two different forms, namely, the first is real asset investment. This investment is made by person either in visible or invisible form, such as land investment, metal investment, and property investment. And the second is investment in financial assets. Investment in financial assets is carried out by investor as a form of securities, for example like investment deposits and stock in capital market. And the relation between investment and Indonesian economy. Investment has a positive effect on economic growth in Indonesia. The existence of a positive influence between investment and economic growth indicates that one of the indicators of economic growth in Indonesia is determined by investment. Investment is used by a public as a precaution. Because people's need increase, the increasing in money will also increase. An increase in investment will trigger an increase in economic growth, because an increase in investment indicates an increase in capital formation. Note, if investment increases, economic growth will increase. The opposite, if investment decreases, economic growth will also decrease. Reasons for choosing this topic. Investment can affect economic growth in many factors, just like the first, investment is one of the important indicators for economic growth. Investment will have a positive impact on the production process in an increasingly active business, which also have an impact on increasing household consumption. The second, investment plays a role in economic recovery and has a positive correlation with the country's infrastructure development. Increased national income or GDP will support development efforts that will be carried out by the government. The third is investment can also help grow business climate. The more investment that is made, the more new businesses will emerge. This will have an impact on availability of jobs and employment, will support the growth of purchasing power so that it can help increase Indonesia's economic growth. The role of investment in economic recovery. Generally, the role of investment in national economic recovery consists of two, namely, the first, investment activities have a positive relationships between countries' infrastructure development. An increase in GDP will support the government's development efforts, while the government will be more active in building infrastructure to support and attract investors. The second is investment activities will also grow new businesses that have sprung up, such as MSMEs, medical devices, and housing, which are some of the business sectors that are growing during this pandemic. The number of emerging businesses will create more job opportunities, which will clearly support the growth of consumer purchasing power and household consumptions. Analysis of conditions and the role of investment in Indonesia economy. The Central Statistics Agency, or in Indonesia we call as Badan Pusat Statistik atau BPS, reports that Indonesia's economic growth in the second quarter of 2021 has increased to 7.07% of an annual basic year or year on year. The improvement in Indonesia's economy in the second quarter of 2021 was mainly seen from the increase in export performance, household consumptions, government consumptions, and investment. This economic improvement shows that Indonesia has managed to recover after experiencing pressure during the last few quarters due to COVID-19. The improvement in the economy is indeed a good sign, but it is still important to ensure that there will not be another decline in the next quarters. One of the things that plays a significant role in Indonesia's economic growth is investment. Realization of investment in Indonesia during the second quarter of 2021 increased by 16.2% compared to the same period in previous years, with 191.9 trillion rupiah. The Ministry of Investment or Investment Coordinating Board or BKPM published data on investment realization in the second quarters of 2021, in which April and June, which reached 123 trillion rupiah. In addition, there's also cumulative investment realization data for the period January to June 2021, which reached 442.8 trillion rupiah. The government's efforts to attract investors to invest for economic growth in Indonesia. The first, ratify the Omnibus Law on the Job Creation Act. The government's first strategy to attract investors is to ratify the Omnibus Law in Law or Undang-Undang Nomor 11 Tahun 2020 concerning job creation on October 5, 2020. The ratification of the Omnibus Law aims to create a quality business and investment climate so that it can create new jobs in Indonesia. The Omnibus Law regulates many things like simplification of business licensing procedures, investment requirements, employment, which is very directly related to the role of investment. On the benefits is improving the investment climate and legal certainty. The Omnibus Law's strategic policies are as follows: improving the investment ecosystem and business activities, protection and welfare of workers, is improvement and protection of MSMEs, and increase government investment in national strategic projects. The second is issue the investment priority list or DPI. Issue the investment priority list or DPI is Presidential Decree Nomor 10 Tahun 2021 is one of the government strategies to attract investors to invest in Indonesia. The investment priority list or DPI consists of three sectors, namely, the first is priority sectors. The priority sectors include national strategic projects, and the second is sector designated for cooperative and micros or MSMEs. The third is sector with certain restriction. Influence on investment role. Fiscal incentives are in the form of reduction of income tax, reduction of tax or taxable income, and exemption of import duty. Meanwhile, non-fiscal incentives are in the form of business licensing for the implementation of business activities. The provision of these two incentives aim to increase investment realization, economic growth, and create more jobs. With the government strategy to attract investors to invest in Indonesia, it is expected to be able to restore the economy and increase the pace of Indonesia's economic growth. Of course, the Ministry of Investments or BKPM and the government will continue to make improvements in the implementation of the strategies. Actually, there are so many efforts that have been made by the Indonesian government to encourage economic growth, especially to encourage the role of investment in Indonesia economic recovery. One of the most popular is the inauguration of the Manado Bitung toll. Then, the government has also provided various policies that have made it easier for investment in Indonesia, assistance regarding credit and guarantees, the formation of a special task force for foreign investment, as well as the ease of applying for business and investment of the BKPM. Positive sentiments on the Indonesian economy from investment. Improvements in the real sector were also supported by improvements in the financial sector, where the stock price index, or in Indonesia we call IHSG atau Indeks Harga Saham Gabungan, broke through the 7,000 level and reached an all-time highest closing on record on Tuesday, March 22, 2022. Composite stock price index is influenced by economic growth. If the composite stock price index increases, it means the economic growth increases, and the opposite, if the stock price index decreases, the economic growth decreases. The improvement in financial sector performance is also supported by a well-functioning capital market deepening strategy. The number of capital market investors has increased significantly to 7.38 million, or an increase of 90.32% compared to 2020. The positive performance can also be seen from the increase in number of IPO. Starting this year, the number of investors in Indonesia is still on the growth trend. This is reflected in the still growing number of investors in the capital market in various investment instruments. Based on the data from the Indonesian Central Securities Depository or KSEI, the number of capital market investors has reached 7.68 million investors at the end of the January 2022. This number recorded an increase of 5% on a monthly basis from the position at the end of the December 2021, which was 7.45 million. Investor growth also occurred in mutual fund investor, where the number had reached 7.21 million as January 2022. This number increased from the position at the end of the last year, which was 6.84 million. The Indonesian capital market industry has had a windfall during the COVID-19 pandemic. The situation has become a momentum to increase the number of investors in the capital market. 2 years earlier, around the beginning of 2017, the number of capital market investors in Indonesia was recorded at only 1 million investors. But by the end of 2021, the number had almost quadrupled. This is a separate note for the chairman of the Board of Commissioners of the Financial Service Authority, Wimbo Santoso, witnessing the rapid growth of investors in the Indonesia capital market in 2021. This number has increased almost 7 times compared to 2017, said Wimbo at the closing ceremony of stock trading on the Indonesia Stock Exchange Thursday, 30 December 2021. Interestingly, the growth of capital market investors is dominated by millennials. And also Wimbo said the increase in the number of capital market investors couldn't be separated from the efforts of the IDX and the OJK, who intensively carried out socialization, education, and literacy to the public. In addition, the average daily transaction value on the IDX increased by more than 46% from the position at the end of December 2020, which was 9.2 trillion rupiah. As of December 10, there were 51 new issuers listed on the IDX. And this is a capital market investors individual demographic, as you can see. Even in 2022, there are several companies that are listed on the stock exchange and are attracting investors' role in investing. Wimbo also said that the total fundraising in the Indonesian capital market had increased significantly. It was recorded that the total value of securities issuance as of December 10, 2021 in the IDX reached 338.1 trillion rupiah, an increase of the 184.84% from the position at the end of December of 180.7 trillion rupiah. The hope is that Indonesia is able to optimize the role of investment in economic recovery by reconstructing labor-intensive investment and partnering with business players, including MSMEs. It can be said that the focus of Indonesian government itself is not only on restoring the Indonesian economy, but also ensuring that the Indonesian economy will continue to advance in these years. Thank you for watching this video. If you guys have a question, just comment below, and see you in other topic.